بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Alhamdulillah wa salatu salamu ala Rasulullah. We continue reading from Imam Al-Ghazali's Jawahir Al-Quran, the road, the Jews, the Quran, and spares. We are still reading from Surah Sad. And in the last session, we read the story of Prophet David, Sayyidina Dawud alayhi salam. And in this session, we will read a couple of verses before we move into the to the story of Prophet Solomon, Sayyidina Sulaiman alayhi salam. The Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala praise Sayyidina Dawud alayhi salam, Prophet David, King David also, for he granted him and strengthened his kingship and gave him wisdom and sound judgment, of course, revelation, and of course the Zabur. Liberally, we say the Book of Psalms. There could be some of these hymns. There might be some of these hymns that they have originally from the Zabur. Allahu Alam. But when I read in the Book of Psalms, I found that it lacks the divine commandments. If you read the Qur'an, you will find that this is do's and don'ts. Okay, yes, there are places where it does teach us the importance of praising the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but at the same time you have these do's and don'ts. We have, by the way, it's only according to some scholars it's a couple of hundred verses. Some will make just they have a larger just slightly larger number of verses in the Quran. If we say that these couple of hundred verses, had they been 600, that will be some 10% of the Quran, approximately. And you can see that is so that's the 200 will be a fraction of 1/3 of that. So the Quran is a book of guidance, of spirituality, of understanding the role of the human being in this universe, at any rate. So let's read, inshallah, the couple of verses that separate. They will still mention Prophet Dawud alayhi salam and move into the story of Sulaiman alayhi salam. أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا داود إنا جعلناك خليفة في الأرض فاحكم بين الناس بالحق ولا تتبع الهوى فيضلك عن سبيل الله إن الذين يضلون عن سبيل الله عذاب شديد بما نسوا يوم الحساب. We instructed him, O David, we have surely made you an authority. The word Khalifa, will get back to this because that's the word in Arabic in the Quran. O David, we have surely made you an authority in the land, so judge between people with truth and do not follow your desires. Fahkum. It's about judgment. It's about ruling. Do not follow your desires, or they will lead you astray from Allah's way. Surely, those who go astray from Allah's way will suffer a severe punishment for neglecting the day of reckoning. So Prophet David was made a vicegerent on earth. All humanity on one level, they are vicegerents. Adam alayhi salam was a vicegerent. His role on earth would be that in the sense of he should opt to fulfill the role of the vicegerent, which is understood from the question of the angels is the very first story in the Quran, verses approximately 30 to 35 of Surah Al-Baqarah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala informed the angels about the creation of a vicegerent, that's Sayyidina Adam alayhi salam. And they exclaimed, why would Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala create someone who would cause mischief, corruption on earth, and shed blood? So, by definition, the vicegerent would do the opposite, will not shed blood, will preserve life, which is one of the aims of the Sharia in Islam, preservation of life. And number two, you don't cause corruption, mischief, destruction, which could be understood as doing the wrong things in politics, economics, the social order, in the arts, and in every human, in every field of activity. When these nation states based international relations based on interest, national interest, with no morality in the picture, no ethics, no empathy for other human beings. That's not the paradigm that we are looking for. But then the verse asks Sayyidina Dawood alayhi salam to judge amongst people. فَحْكُمْ بَيْنَ النَّاسِ. If you rule amongst the people, if you judge with justly, with justice. In the Quran, we have in Surah Al-Ma'idah, I think, 3 verses about the وَمَنْ لَمْ يَحْكُمْ بِمَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْكَافِرُونَ وَمَنْ لَمْ يَحْكُمْ. So these verses, in general, they in the old books of tafsir, of exegesis of the Quran, it appears that the verses refer to judgment as in a court between plaintiffs when you have disputes. And nowadays there are those who would only consider politics without allowing any room. Yes, indeed, yes, we do face a disintegration of the political will of the Ummah. What's the way forward? In abstract and also faithfully in Islamic theology, unity is a must, is an obligation. But how to fulfill that, that's really something that we might not agree upon. We should allow room for thinking, and also is, is it possible to have something like the European Union, at least as a first step? And I'm asking the question, where you do have a European Parliament, you do have European institutions, without really undermining these states. Italy remained Italy, Germany remained Germany, Spain remained Spain, and France remains France. And no, the poor people of Portugal, for example, or certain places in the European Union, did not leave their countries in mass to live in Germany, for example. And I'm saying this because some Arab or Muslim countries might be a bit apprehensive about having a unity for fear of sharing the wealth, or that people will, flock to their doors. There could be policies in place. But here it's فَحْكُمْ بَيْنَ النَّاسِ بِالْحَقِّ, addressing Prophet Dawud alayhi salam. Obviously, it's about because in the previous session we spoke about these two plaintiffs who climbed up the wall of his sanctuary, of his mihrab. Really, there were no guards, but the idea they had dispute about a partnership, 99 sheep versus one sheep, 99%, 99 stocks versus one whatever, and do not follow their people's desire. They will lead you astray. People are inclined to follow their own whims, and they would try to influence politicians. So this is why, on the one hand, you would like shura to be a serious body of shura, to be to be there to serve the ruler, to serve the ummah, based on the Islamic worldview, to have moral courage, always politely, but an open door really for. We have seen how some people who are absolutely immoral, they have made it to the seat, whether it's the legislative or really the executive office, are absolutely immoral and they should not be in these places. And I'm talking basically about famous now examples in the West, documented with egos that the whole earth is not large enough for their egos. Very close to the Pharaoh, uh, declaring himself as deity. One verse still separates us from the story of Sulaiman alayhi salam. وما خلقنا السماء والأرض وما بينهما باطلا ذلك ظن الذين كفروا فويل الذين كفروا من النار. We have not created the heavens and earth and everything in between without purpose, as disbelievers think. So woe to the disbelievers because of the fire. Because of the fire. Woe to the disbelievers. For the fire, the hellfire is awaiting them. أم نجعل الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات كالمفسدين في الأرض نجعل المتقين كالفجار. How should we treat those who believe and do good like those who make mischief throughout the land? Or should we treat the righteous like the wicked? كتاب أنزلناه إليك مبارك ليدبروا آياته وليذكر أولو الألباب. This is a blessed book we have revealed to you, O Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, so that they may contemplate his verses and people of reason may be mindful. وَوَهَبْنَا لِدَاوُودَ سُلَيْمَانَ. And we blessed David with Solomon. What an excellent servant he was. نعم العبد. إنه أواب, indeed he constantly turned to Allah. These five daily prayers are all, I mean, they are obligations, but they are also uh, time out from business, time out from. It's not against business. In fact, you pray, you fulfill your duties, and you'll have your business will be blessed, inshallah. You have the barakah. But it's time to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to turn time and again to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. إذ عرض عليه بالعشي الصافنات الجياد. So this is Sulaiman alayhi salam turning continuously to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Remember when the well-trained swift horses were paraded before him in the evening. فقال إني أحببت حب الخير عن ذكر ربي حتى تورت بالحجاب. He then proclaimed, I am truly in love with these fine things, out of remembrance for my Lord, until they went out of sight. فقال إني أحببت حب الخير عن ذكر ربي. He basically was busy. I mean, He loved them so much that they distracted him from remembering his prayers. So it began by the attributes of Sulaiman alayhi salam, that he constantly was remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, returning to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, turning to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But at one point, when he was looking at these, enjoying these horses paraded before him, they distracted him until they went out of sight. Yeah, the parade, if you will, ended. So what did he do? He said, bring them back. He ordered, bring them back to me. Then he began to rub down their legs and necks. ردوها علي فطفق مسحا بالسوق والأعناق. He began to rub down their legs and necks. Now some commentators have a different interpretation, which would say it cannot be the case. They are not supported by any reliable source, directly text of the Quran or the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala a'la wa a'lam. So they maintain that Prophet Sulaiman alayhi salam, Prophet Solomon kept watching these fine horses until sunset. Then he realized that he missed his prayer because of his love for the horses. So he killed them, striking, like with the sword, their legs and necks. Here I would like to bring to the picture that Prophet Sulaiman alayhi salam, changed the course of his army because an ant, it could be the queen of the, told the ants to hide from the army of Sulaiman alayhi salam, so that they will not step on them, destroying, kill them, so that Sulaiman and his soldiers will not crush you. So someone who changed the course of the army because of ants, would he kill these horses? Is the problem the existence of the horses? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned the horses in the Qur'an, that they are source of beauty, but he mentioned their function, their job, if you will. Their job, وَتَحْمِلُ أَثْقَالَكُمْ إِلَّا بَلَدٍ لَمْ تَكُونُوا بَالِغِيهِ إِلَّا بِشِقِّ الْأَنفُسِ, and these horses will carry your goods, your stuff to countries, to places that you could not reach except with great effort. And about their beauty, وَلَكُمْ فِيهَا جَمَالٌ حِينَ تُرِيحُونَ وَحِينَ تَسْرَحُونَ. That's how it begins. There is beauty. They exist. They are very beautiful. So the problem is not the existence of objects of beauty in our universe. When you see beauty, remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Subhanallah. Tabarakallah ahsan al-khaliqeen. You praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who created these horses. So I think what he did, he said, bring them back so that he could see them and also rub the necks, the legs and the necks, pretty much like jockeys do during interviews, right before, right after the race. That's exactly what they do. So he wanted to have them present and still praise, remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wallah subhanahu wa ta'ala a'la wa a'lam. There were other tests, testing Sulaiman alayhi salam. وَلَقَدْ فَتَنَّا سُلَيْمَانَ وَأَلْقَيْنَا عَلَى كُرْسِيِّهِ جَسَدًا ثُمَّ أَنَابَ. And indeed, we tested Solomon, placing what could be a deformed body on his throne. It is reported in a hadith collected by Al-Bukhari in his Sahih that one night Prophet Solomon said that each of his wives would conceive a boy, a son, who would struggle, who would basically exert effort in Allah's cause. He forgot to say, Allah willing, inshallah, God willing, bihawlillah, biquwwati min Allah, bi'idhnillah. So only one of them gave birth to a deformed dead body, baby, stillborn. So Solomon prayed to Allah for forgiveness, but he also prayed for an authority, a kingdom that will never be matched by anyone after him. قَدْ رَبِّ اغْفِرْ لِي وَهَبْ لِي مُلْكًا لَا يَنبَغِي لِأَحَدٍ مِّن بَعْدِي إِنَّكَ أَنْتَ الْوَهَّابُ. He prayed, My Lord, forgive me and grant me an authority that will never be matched by anyone after me. You are indeed the giver of all bounties. فَسَخَّرْنَا لَهُ الرِّيحَ تَجْرِي بِأَمْرِهِ رُخَاءً حَيْثُ أَصَابَ. So we subjected to him the wind, blowing gently at his command to wherever he pleased. وَالشَّيَاطِينَ كُلَّ بَنَّاءٍ وَغَوَّاصٍ. And we subjected to him every builder and diver of the jinn, وآخرين مقرنين في الأصفاد, and others bound together in chains. هذا عطاؤنا فامنن أو امسك بغير حساب. Allah said, this is our gift, so give or withhold as you wish, never to be called to account. Or basically, I think the proper translation, just give plentiful, Wallahu alam also, but could be, you'll never to be called to account. وَإِنَّ لَهُ عِندَنَا لَزُلْفَىٰ وَحُسْنَ مَآبٍ. And he will indeed have a status of closeness to us, to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and an honorable destination. Inshallah, we'll probably comment a little bit about these verses and move to the story of Job, Ayyub alayhi salam, in the next session, بإذن الله عز وجل. Until then, سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.